Hey guys and girls, my name's Dan and I'm not in the forge, I'm in Blaenavon, where I found this. So in this episode of Trust Me, I'm a Blacksmith, I'd like to talk to you guys about becoming a professional smith and the routes and paths you can take to achieve that. I'm not in the workshop because these chatty videos are a bit boring in the workshop sometimes. I've come up to a place called Blaenavon. I'll show you across the road where the ironworks were. I'll take you up to the big pit where I think they dug coal out of the ground. And this mammoth, massey steam power hammer used to do a lot of work here once upon a time. And Blaenavon still has one of the largest ring rolling plants in Europe just down the road. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show that, I can't get access to that. So let's have a chat about becoming a professional blacksmith. So a viewer called Major Rose, I don't know if you're a sub or not dude, but thank you for the question. He asked me how would someone go about becoming a professional blacksmith. He lives out in New Zealand. He's heard about the course in Hereford, the Artist Blacksmith course, and would that lead to a professional career? Hopefully, standing under this monumental beast, I might be able to shed some light on the subject and tell you guys, first of all, what I've done to become a smith. Whether or not I'm a professional smith, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. In the long and short of it, the kind of routes and paths that you could take to become a professional blacksmith. So the ironworks are behind me, and I'm assuming that's where that power hammer used to work. The whole of Wales is rich with mining culture and ironworking culture. And that brings me to my first point about being a professional blacksmith. What kind of blacksmith do you want to be? The degree I did was an art degree essentially, and there's lots of different routes to go down to become a blacksmith. A good example of contemporary ironwork in the 21st century are these laser cut panels that have been rusted, made out of Torfaen. Now, this might be something that you might pick up as a job as a professional blacksmith after doing an artist blacksmith degree like I did. And using a piece of forging equipment like this massive power hammer here is more of a technical side, somewhere like industrial smithing, where you might work in a factory, do an apprenticeship. So there's lots of different routes that you can take and lots of different things you can make as a professional blacksmith. So basically I'm just going to cover what I think it takes to become a professional blacksmith, or anything like what I am and what I do with my practice. I'm just going to basically roughly go over what I did, and I'm going to give you alternatives on that version of a story to make your own decisions and sort of wiggle your way through your career. Now, the first thing I would suggest that you go and do is, I went and worked with a blacksmith. Now, in all retrospect now, he wasn't truly a blacksmith, he was more of a welder fabricator. But he got me started down an avenue of exploration that's led me to this point now, and we're talking to you guys. So to say whether or not he was a good or a bad blacksmith, I don't think that's fair, but I would definitely say that he was a welder fabricator as to a blacksmith. Then I looked on YouTube and found some videos of actual blacksmiths working. In fact, I think some of the first videos I watched were Billy. If you don't know who Billy is, I suggest you go and check him out. He's an interesting guy, and he sort of started me down this path that I'm on now. So I'm now at the Visitors Centre at the Big Pit in Blaenavon. It's technically, it was a working colliery. It's now a museum. These pieces are owned by Cardiff Museum. I only know that because I've been to their open store where they have even more of these bloody things. They also have a working smithy here, I believe, and I'm going to come up here one day and do a video up here to show you guys. But the guy who works here is an engineering blacksmith, and he worked here when it was a running mine, and he was talking about all the things he'd have to make and repair. So after finding YouTube and seeing other blacksmiths and realising the blacksmith I was working for wasn't really a blacksmith, he was just a guy in the yellow pages advertising himself as a blacksmith, I then started to work out how I could go about educating myself in metalwork, blacksmithing, forging in particular, and that's how I came across the course in Hereford, the Artist Blacksmiths course, the BA. Now, I wanted to do a degree. I had chosen to go and do a degree because I'd already done my apprenticeship as a mechanical engineer. I'd done my time, I'd worked professionally as a mechanical engineer, and I thought to myself, well, you know, this is what I want to do. I did some at school, I love doing it at school. How could I further my career? Well, a degree in blacksmithing sounds like a good plan. So I went and done that, went and did the degree. Was the degree the right thing to do, the next best step? For me, I feel like, yes, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about blacksmithing in the process. And I also met some really interesting people who were like-minded, who were genuine, who educated me in the ways of being a blacksmith. Now, would I suggest that it's right for everyone? No, I wouldn't. I would suggest that there's many alternatives to doing a degree, and some of those come in the form of education via a technical course. I'm sure that most countries globally have a technical course available for blacksmiths. If they don't, you should find out about technical courses globally and where's the nearest one to you. Hereford College of Arts offers, Hereford College offers a technical course, a technical BA course with varying degree levels. There's also Plumpton College in Surrey. They also offer courses. I'm sure there's other courses up and down the country that offer blacksmithing courses on a technical level. But as a degree goes, there's only 3 places in the world that I know of. If anyone knows of any others that offer an artist blacksmithing degree or a degree in forging, please give us a link down below. I'd be really interested to find out about those. But Hereford, which is the UK, Steneby, which is in Sweden, and then Carbondale, which is in the United States of America. So some of you guys who are American, who are interested in doing a degree, think you have to come all the way over to Herefordshire to come and do the degree I did. Well, you don't. You can stay at home and do it. But I suggest you go travelling as well, because that's good fun. But if you look at the courses and what they offer, I suggest they all offer different things. There's degrees, and also the technical courses, they'll all offer different things. Maybe you want to be a donkey mechanic. By that I mean a farrier. Don't take that's just a joke, so don't take offence to that, all you farriers out there. But there's also lots of schools that offer very competent and very good courses for farriery. So I did my 3-year degree, and as part of that degree I was encouraged to go and work with other blacksmiths. That's where I met Roger Lund, Dave Perks, and a couple of other smiths who I found, you know, not only did I work with them, but I was around those people, and I learned and discovered more about myself and what it was that I wanted to do as a blacksmith, which then would go to inform my practice. Completed my degree, and then moved on to setting up my own workshop. On reflection, I do feel I could have spent more time working alongside other blacksmiths to better myself. There are definitely gaps in my practice that I don't grasp and I haven't got. Could I do more education? Yes, I could do more education. I could probably do technical courses, and I could probably go and work with more smiths. That would really, really help my the little holes that I have in my practice. And up until recently, especially starting the YouTube channel, I was getting to that point. I was going to look for work with other smiths and perhaps do a year working with someone else, and closing down what I'm doing currently as a professional blacksmith to pursue a different way of being a blacksmith. Now, if you're at home and you're thinking, Dan, what's this got to do with me, and why is any of this relevant? Well, it's partly relevant. It's the path that I took, and now I'm going to give you my point of view from this subject. How can you go about becoming a professional blacksmith? The first thing I would suggest you do is, like I said before, go and find yourself someone to work with. If you go and find yourself a local blacksmith who's genuinely a blacksmith, that would be great. Or a welder fabricator. You can learn a lot from welder fabricators. It's not like they're not a valuable source of information. They're not a valuable stepping stone. They're great. Alternatively, find a local group. I mean, if you're in the United States of America, contact a banner. They'll help you find people. If you are in the UK, try Bar. I don't know of any other groups that exist within Europe and places like that, but I'm sure there are groups and committees. There might be a local hammering, there might be a local community of blacksmiths that gather on a Saturday morning and do stuff together. Go and talk to those guys, and that's your first stepping stone. That's where you start. If you want to get into blacksmithing, that's where you start. And then the next step is try it in your garden. If you've got space to do it in your garden and you can't find a blacksmith to work with, why not try it in your garden? There's just as many valuable opportunities to do that sort of work in someone's garden as there is in your backyard, as there is going off and working with an actual smith. And then comes the point where you look for education. So you've got in touch with your local community, you found a local blacksmith, you started forging in your back garden. Where do you go from there? I reckon there's probably about 3 steps to go from this point. Your first step is possibly to expand out from your garden and continue to blacksmith from there. I mean, this might be enough. You might have the ability and the tenacity to make a go of it just by working out of your back garden. I would suggest, in my opinion, that going and finding someone to work with for a short period of time, maybe a 6-week course or an apprenticeship, just working alongside a blacksmith for a period of time, professionally, earning some money via doing it, even if it's only a little bit of money, I would suggest that's a great way for you to, you know, add a layer onto your practice. It's a great way to take that practice that you've started in your back garden or your yard or whatever you want to call it into a larger workshop, a shed perhaps or something, and develop it from there. Now, I also would suggest that if you want to develop your practice, that doing some sort of training or a course that develops you over a period of time, 3, 5, 6 years, I would also suggest is a great way of forwarding yourself on to becoming a professional blacksmith. So which course should you select? Now, for me personally, I did the degree course. I already had an engineering apprenticeship. I felt I had the general basics of metalworking down. As far as forging goes, I didn't know diddly squat. And I learnt as much as I possibly was going to in 3 years in a very intense space of time. So that satisfied my needs. But maybe you need to do a technical course. Or maybe you want to be a farrier, or maybe you do want to be an artist blacksmith and you need to do a degree. Now, I would suggest if you're under the age of 18 that doing a degree is probably unadvisable. I doubt most educational facilities will take you on a degree course under the age of 18, and I would also suggest that you don't have enough prior knowledge of whatever it is to undertake the course. Not that you're stupid, I just think life experiences are valuable for degree courses. If you're 16 and you want to do a degree, I would suggest that you go and do a technical course first, or perhaps do an apprenticeship, and that's the other option. Find a blacksmith that's willing to take you on for 3, 5, 7 years, take you on as an apprentice and train. Summary, find a local community to get involved with, then locate an educational group or body or some way you can expand your knowledge that is structured in some way, shape or form, apprenticeship, educational, technical courses. And then finally, stick to your guns. If you want to do it and you want to be a professional blacksmith in any way, shape or form, tenacity will win the day. And also remember that every single person on the planet is different, and no matter what you do it in your own way, you'll get there at some point. So as you can see, I'm now in the workshop, and I just wanted to make a final note that wasn't in the video and remake the outro because it just wasn't good enough. So the final part of the process is collecting your tools and setting up your workshop. Now that is that's a process that can take many years and a very long time, but as you develop your practice, as you go through your education, you will have a greater understanding of the things you'll need. Like, I definitely need an anvil, I definitely need a forge, and I use the power hammer a lot. So they were going to be key items that I was always going to have in the workshop. The fly press behind me and the leg vise, they were things that I hadn't thought that I needed, that, you know, I added on later. But that's an element of development as a professional when you start building your own practice. And there's also looking for work and vying for work and all those sorts of things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Remember, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell for notifications. If you want to head over to my channel and check out all the other videos on there, there's stuff from me making an anchor, there's me making a sledgehammer, there's how-tos for tongs and all sorts of other bits and bobs like that. And then there's just general vlogs. So yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. Hopefully that's helped you find out how to go about becoming a professional blacksmith. So I'm going to leave a link here for the 1,000 subscribers and one down here for the 500 subscriber challenge. That's the anchor and the sledgehammer. And thanks for watching. See you later. Oh yeah, check out the Patreon. Remember, subscribe. Bye.